It appears Israel sealed the fate of Tucker Carlson as well. For months, Republicans have been painting him as anti-Semitic.
And I will say on the right, I have seen more anti-Semitism in the last 18 months on the right. It is being spread by loud voices, the most consequential of whom is Tucker Carlson. I believe Tucker Carlson is the single most dangerous demagogue in this country.
Carlson says he is done with the Republican Party. He says it puts the interest of Israel above those of its own citizens.
I would not support the Republican Party. There's no chance I would support the Republican Party. I'm not going to support the Democratic Party. I don't know what I'm going to do. But at this point, how could I or any American voter support a political party that's not loyal to the United States?
Group chat is back. Tam, we're going two ends of the spectrum here, right?
And then it meets up at the top.
The horseshoe politics. I think what's interesting is that Tucker has been at odds with the White House for many months, almost every time there's a foreign intervention. But this one in particular seems to have pushed him over the edge in terms of how he speaks publicly.
I think that what is happening here with Tucker Carlson, with Ted Cruz, is various parts of what has been the Republican coalition figuring out what happens in a potential post-Trump reality and positioning themselves. And there are flashpoints. Israel is going to be a flashpoint. It didn't used to be. Republicans were all very pro-Israel. That's not the case anymore. And I think you're going to see it over abortion and other issues as well.
Yeah, Marjorie Taylor Greene tweeting, Tucker's not the only one who's done supporting the Republican Party. This is her, I think, on X. There's a lot of us that are absolutely fed up and will not support a party that betrays its voters and country. That doesn't mean we're turning into Democrats either, but we are done with the America Last Republican Party.
There's something going on here. It's not just this issue. If you think about this issue, you think about the war, you think about the Epstein files, you have all of these activists on the right who voted for Donald Trump because of those three things. And Tucker Carlson, maybe Marjorie Taylor Greene, are trying to tap into that. The old political consultant here thinks it has a lot to do with 2028.
And
totally.
Yeah, 2028, and also where the public sentiment is. I mean, when I went to look at the Pew Research polls, I was trying to figure out, okay, what are the views of Israel right now based on the polling? And in 2022, Republicans were at 27% with an unfavorable view of Israel. Now they're at 41, which means it's almost doubled. And meanwhile, Democrats, of course, we know, in 2022, 53%. Now they're at 80%. So a Mamdani or a Tucker, they're speaking to the people who moved in this shift from 2022 to now.
Israel is what they're fighting right now, but I think it's very important to say they're against any sort of foreign conflict. I don't think it's just Israel. I think it would be if we were, obviously no one on the Republican side wanted us to be in Ukraine either. So I think but I agree with Chuck in regards
But he's not leaving over Venezuela. Like, it feels as though...
No, but we're not at war. I mean, that was like something very quick. We don't have a lot of troops on the ground. We're not... And anyway, I think that's a little bit different, but I get your point. I also think that Marjorie Taylor Greene and Tucker are trying to figure out a path in regards to 2028. I think they're both testing the grounds of running. But also one of the questions I have really for you is there are 4 or 5 potential Jewish candidates on the Democrat side that would run in 2028. One of them, my dear friend Josh Shapiro. How does that happen? I mean, they're like the Dems are trying to go left of the left of the left of Israel.
This has relevance in Democratic and primaries for both parties in 2028. When you have multiple people running, more than 4 or 5, you can win the nomination with 30%. Keep in mind, you just need that 30%, and Tucker Carlson knows that.
Just to be clear, I think it's just given what Tucker Carlson's been saying lately, Israel is the foreign country to which he appears to be referring there. But is he right, whatever the driver may be, that there are a lot of other people that are out?
I think there's absolutely a problem for the Trump coalition. And the reasons are real around opposition to another forever war. And you win elections by addition, not subtraction. And let's remember, the last time you had a major split in the Republican Party, Bill Clinton won 2 presidential elections with less than a majority of the American people. He won in 1992 with 43% and in 1996 with 49%. And the reason was Ross Perot. And it allowed a Democrat to win with less than a majority. And for a party, my own, that is struggling building a majority coalition, having that serious a split in the Republican one is a real opportunity. It doesn't excuse us from redesigning and rebuilding the party into something more majoritarian, but I'll tell you what, it's a problem if you're a Republican.
I would argue that Tucker Carlson already did not belong to the Republican Party because he belongs to MAGA. Okay, and that there in and of itself, you have the fracturing within the Republican Party. But I would also argue that there's a fracturing within the Democratic Party. I mean, you have the far left, the AOC people on this side, you have the more moderates. What we really need, and Tucker Carlson won't be joining this, and neither will Marjorie Taylor Greene, who also says she's leaving the Republican Party, are independents. I mean, the majority of Americans are somewhere in the middle. And I would beg politicians to try and find common ground somewhere in the middle and stop all this fracturing.
Tucker Carlson says he will not support Republicans. It seems to be largely over issues surrounding Israel. My question to you is, do you regret or welcome this move from Tucker Carlson?
Well, my party, to be the party of the majority, wants people to view us in a more positive way against our opponents. And those opponents have entirely different views and ideas. So I think that what Tucker didn't say, and I have not talked to him, are you going to vote? Because when you have to place your vote, it somewhat changes your mind on who you're then going to vote for, and you can reassess that. But no, I don't want to redo anything with Tucker. What I want to say is he's entitled to his opinion. It's been a stormy romance, no doubt about that. But there are people who find time to express opinions. When it comes down to the battle, it will be a battle for which direction we go. The American people know one party is headed one way and the other party is headed another way. And I'm proud to be a Republican.
Just very quickly, it's not all Democrats when it comes to the issues surrounding Israel either, is it? I mean, Tucker Carlson, very, very public critic of Israel, said this just over the last 24 hours about his support of the Republican Party. Listen.
How could I or any American voter support a political party that's not loyal to the United States, that puts the interests of a foreign country above those of its own citizens? That's it's not possible to vote for people like that. So no, I'm out. And if I'm out, then I think a lot of other people are out.
But that foreign country he is talking about is Israel. Make no mistake about it. Go ahead, David.
Yeah, John, you and I, this may not be terribly surprising to us who have watched sort of Tucker Carlson's evolution here, but just think about if you and I were having this conversation, I don't know, a few years ago, that Tucker Carlson just totally disowns any association with the Republican Party. He's been a front man for the Republican Party for 35 years, I think he said, and this is a dramatic development. So you are right. We are seeing this notion of Israel as a litmus test in both parties, and whether or not members of the parties are seen as too supportive, and that invites in sort of an insurgency and support from a wing of the party that is dedicated to opposition to Israel, that is creating a real divide within each of these parties. I think we see in the polling this is a bigger, more pronounced problem right now on the Democratic side than it is on the Republican side, but it is there too, no doubt.
All right.